1986's The Legend of Zelda was the first game released in the franchise of the same name. While not the strongest so far as plot is concerned, it still builds an interesting and vibrant world, far beyond most games of its era, and provides a solid foundation for the series to build upon down the line. To understand this story, you first need to understand the Triforce. While not fully explored in this game, the Triforce is an ancient artifact made up of 3 golden triangles, each of which is representative of a virtue: power, wisdom, and courage. Each separately is a great source of magical power, but holding all 3 at once will grant even a mortal the power of the gods themselves. At the start of the game, the Triforce of Wisdom is held by Zelda, Princess of Hyrule, while the Triforce of Power is being held by the Demon King, Ganon. Seeking to increase his power, Ganon attacked Hyrule in order to retrieve Zelda's portion of the artifact. In turn, Zelda shattered the Triforce of Wisdom into 8 parts, which she scattered throughout the kingdom before she was taken hostage by Ganon. During that conflict, Impa, Zelda's nursemaid, was able to escape the castle, and found a young boy who was just passing through. The boy's name was Link. After he saved the old woman from threatening monsters, she told him what had transpired, and asked for his aid. After hearing her plea, Link decided to help stop Ganon. Retrieving a sword from a helpful old man nearby, Link began his journey to save Hyrule from the Demon King. He traveled across Hyrule, collecting the hidden pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom in order to cast a beam of light over Ganon's dark magic. That done, he laid siege upon Ganon's fortress beneath Spectacle Rock, and slayed the beast in his own stronghold, putting an end to Ganon's reign, taking the Triforce of Power for himself, and freeing the kidnapped Princess Zelda. There are a couple of really interesting concepts that I wanted to bring up here that really go on to show the world building of the Zelda series. None of them are nearly as refined as they will be in later games. They may not seem like much now, but just wait. First is the concept of demons. While in the American localization, Ganon is referred to as the Prince of Darkness, a more accurate translation would be to call him the Great Demon King. Both titles imply a royal status, but also a demonic power, with Prince of Darkness being a title commonly used for Satan, and the other telling more directly of his power over the demons of the world. This is not explained at all here, and honestly demons really don't become relevant again until Skyward Sword. Those ideas still trace their roots all the way back to this title. While Hyrule's religion is expanded upon greatly in later games, in this original title, we are faced with a very different faith than the one we've come to know. While the series introduced us to a polytheistic belief system in Ocarina of Time, the Japanese version of this game actually had a lot of references to a very different religion: Christianity. Now, I'm not going to say that Hyrule is Christian. Instead, it seems that the Hylian religion at this time has symbolism reminiscent of that which we connect to Christianity. But, as we'll see in even the very next game, seeds of the eventual religion of Hylia were being planted even at this early stage. While it doesn't look like the more fleshed out religion seen in some later games, it can be assumed that it changed over the ages, much as many religions in our own world have evolved since their conceptions. This explains both the Christian symbolism here, and the very different belief system introduced just a few games later. This will be discussed more in depth in regards to later games. The power of music, a common through line through most Zelda games, while it's only lightly touched on here, is still very present within this game. There is only one item, the recorder, which will teleport Link to already completed dungeons, and is actually required to drain a lake in order to access the 7th level. Music will become far more important in later games, especially after Ocarina of Time. Now, as we approach the end of the video, we need to discuss the timeline. Obviously, since this is the first game in the series, we really don't have much of a timeline to speak of. That said, it still gives me time to talk about 2 things any Zelda theorist should keep an eye on: the states of Ganon and the Triforce. While the heroes and world change through the ages, those 2 things are the most consistent aspects of Zelda lore, and will be one of our greatest boons while building a timeline. Starting with Ganon, the first thing to look at is that he is in fact a demon. While it isn't mentioned in this game, he wasn't always such, as we'll see come A Link to the Past. Finally, and possibly most importantly, is how he dies. He's hit with a silver arrow. There are numerous fake-out Ganon deaths throughout the series, but this is one of the few that is still treated seriously as an actual death, to the point where his resurrection is an important plot point in the sequel. Because of that, it's worth noting what is actually able to kill him. As for the Triforce, it's never seen whole in this game. Both the Triforce of Power and Wisdom are shown and used, but the Triforce of Courage remains absent, meaning that it's broken up before, during, and after the events of this game. The Triforce pieces also seem to start up in the same places they are most commonly seen, in the hands of Ganon and Zelda. However, they end in the exact same place, held within Link himself. Well, thank you for watching. If you want to see more of my videos, you can see two right here linked in the end card. Feel free to click on one of them if it catches your interest. If you want to see more of me, you can find me on the Phaology podcast, or on the Cosmic Casters gaming channel, both of which are linked in the description. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next chapter.